Hey everyone, Draco Magnius here for another episode of Let's Play Virtue's Last Reward. In the last episode, we explored around the laboratory and picked up our gold file our way out. A researcher's journal, which probably pertains to Radical 6, given what we learned from the 0.5 episode. And in this episode, we're going to get the fuck out of here. So let's go do that. Lock for the door. Right now it says, lock. You guys ready? Yeah, let's do it! Just get it over with. Okay, here we go! 3, 2, 1! You found it!
Hey, hold on a minute.
Hmm?
There's something... Nah, I guess there's a couple of things I want to double check.
Okay.
Well, one of them's not really significant, I guess.
Huh?
First off, this machine.
Yeah, never was used at all in the puzzles.
We didn't even end up using this thing, did we?
No, we didn't, and I was profoundly curious about it. Well, I was profoundly curious about all the individual pieces in the screens, but the game didn't let me look at it. Yeah.
I was just wondering what it was.
Well, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to answer that. Look at the side here. There's a name or something. IG Replicator. We could replicate Radical 6 like right fucking now. Or not Radical 6, the Axelavir. We should probably do that, honestly. Because if we don't, the rest of us end up contracting Radical 6. We're all kind of fucked.
Replicator makes it sound like it makes copies of stuff.
So it's like a copy machine.
Yeah. Probably copies IG, whatever that is.
Any ideas?
Who knows? Ice cream by the gallon?
I don't think it's that. As fun as that would be, I do not think it's that. Of course! This machine must be here so we can just make all the ice cream we want! Are you nuts?! Wow, that was rude, Sigma. You're one idiotic girl, you know that? In other words, an IG!
Oh, good one!
Well, I'm glad she didn't get mad at that.
Hey, this isn't the time for stupid jokes. There's a helpless child back there in the infirmary who needs our help.
That's fair. I'm surprised that came from Dio, of all people. He was right, of course. I hung my head in shame.
At any rate, as long as we don't know what IG means, we can't do anything with this machine, right?
That's right.
Makes sense. On to the second issue. Sigma, you found a journal and some sort of vial in the safe, right?
Yeah.
The vial. Could you show it to me again?
Why?
I didn't really get a good look at it before. You guys were in there so close I could barely see it.
That's fair.
Was it really Axelavir?
Yeah, definitely. As I spoke, I pulled the vial out of my pocket. See, it's written right here on the label. Axelavir.
You really are an idiot.
What? Huh?
Although I guess in this case the G in IG stands for guy.
What? I don't... The words were barely out of my mouth when he moved. Before I could blink, the vial disappeared from my hand. Hey, what gives?
What are you doing?
Dio slipped the vial quickly into his coat.
Oh, don't worry. I'll keep it safe. I'll even give it back to you later.
No, not later! Give it back
I
now!
don't think so. If you want it back, you're gonna have to listen to my request.
Request?
Yeah, that's what I said. If you want this back, in the next AB game, you have to choose ally.
Fuck you, Dio! I mean, to be honest, I was planning on hitting Betray. Because fuck Dio. But now we have an ultimatum. Wait, is that why you took the medicine? To blackmail me?
That's horrible!
if I pick ally this time?
You're using Quark's life as leverage.
Well, I've got some really good reasons to do so.
I disagree.
I'll be happy to give it back if you just do what I say.
I didn't realize until they started to hurt that I curled my hands into fists. If Dio would only give me an opening.
I wouldn't try and take it back by force if I were you. You make any sudden moves and I'll smash it.
He patted his pocket gently.
Oh, and one more thing. Don't tell those other idiots that you found some Axelavir in here. I hear one word about it, and the next thing you hear will be little bits of glass shattering on the floor.
Damn it.
That's not fair.
No, it's not. It's downright evil.
This game isn't about compassion. It's not about being clever. It's about one thing. How well you can manipulate people to your advantage. How unfair you can be.
Or break the game by being nice to each other. Seriously, why has no one thought of this? Except me at the very beginning of the game. If you all play nice and no one ever hits betray, you can just play the game for a fool, and everyone gets out scot-free. There's no reason to be an unfair asshole.
So, what are you gonna do? Ready to promise me you'll pick ally?
Fine. I promise.
Sigma!
Oh, I knew you'd say it eventually.
Fuck you, Dio.
I'm glad you understand how this works. But don't think about trying anything funny. Break your promise and, well, you know what happens. See you chumps later. I'm really looking forward to the next round.
With one last self-satisfied chuckle, Dio strutted out of the room.
Are you really going to do what he says?
Yeah.
Sigma, you've only got one BP right now. If we choose ally, and he chooses betray...
I know. I'll drop to -1, and that means I'll get penalized.
But that means...
Look, it's not like I want to, alright? If we don't do as he says, then he'll destroy the medicine. If he does that, then Quark will...
So you're going to die to save his life? That's... Why would you do that?
Because it's the right thing to do. In all honesty, I was terrified. My choice was far from a foregone conclusion. Well, we should get back to the upper floor. Everybody else is probably finished already. I bet they're waiting for us. I didn't wait for Clover's response. Fucking Dio. You can count that, by the way. For the drinking game, I mean.
An ambidex gate has been opened.
Fucker.
45 minutes remain until ambidex game polling closes.
Even when we're with him, there's no way for us to stop him from being an asshole to everybody else.
Sorry. I went ahead and cracked it open a bit early.
Why? Dio. In one of his hands was a moon key. He twirled it around like a veteran gambler, grinned, and slid it back into his pocket.
You don't mind, right?
I do mind immensely!
I figured you and Clover would get up here right away. Besides, I thought it'd be best to get this done soon before you lose your nerve. I don't know about you, I'm really looking forward to the next round.
Ugh. I glanced around the warehouse. Alice and Kay were back. As was Phi. And of course, Clover. Where are Tenmyoji and the rest of them?
They're in the infirmary.
We carried Quark to one of the beds. Tenmyoji and Luna are looking after him.
I see.
How's he doing?
Well, it's hard to say. He seems to be sleeping soundly, but beyond that, there's really no way to know.
No change then, huh?
Right. So what was your room, Sigma?
A laboratory.
Is that so?
Did it look like the kind of place where they'd be researching viruses and DNA and those kinds of things?
Yes! But Dio's kinda got my balls in a vice grip right now, and I can't actually tell you that.
Yeah, it did.
Was there any of that Axelavir?
Don't tell those other idiots that you found some Axelavir in here. I hear one word about it, and the next thing you hear will be little bits of glass shattering on the floor.
I would look back at Dio and ask him, I don't know, Dio, did we find anything like that? My eyes flicked to Dio for a moment. No, nothing. Besides me, Clover bit her lip.
I see.
So, how'd it go with you? Find anything interesting? Phi only shook her head. With a unison of movement that almost looked like it almost looked choreographed, Alice and Kay shrugged.
Where does that leave us? We still got about 40 minutes left until voting ends.
What are you gonna do?
I'm a little curious about that lab you found. I thought I might go take a peek at it.
I'll show you the way then.
That would be wonderful.
Oh good, they're together. The chances of her getting shanked by someone with a scalpel or something else are significantly lower now.
I think I'll go have a look at the room Alice, Kay, and Tenmyoji found. Never know. Maybe you missed something. Perhaps there's some Axelavir hidden somewhere in there.
Fucker. At least that way you can bring it up later like, oh hey, look what I found. Gah! What a bastard.
Then I shall take you there.
What about you two? Where are you going?
Well, I think I'll start by heading over to the infirmary to see how Quark's doing.
Then I will too. Glad that's settled.
She nodded to Clover, and they disappeared through the magenta door. Dio and Kay followed a few footsteps behind. Okay then. Guess we should be going too.
Hold on. Show me that journal first. Dio told me about it. He wouldn't tell me anything about the lab, except that you found a journal with, his words, some sort of bullshit language.
I mean, yeah, that's accurate.
He said you had it, so I was hoping I could take a look.
That's fair. I mean, we got some time for you to thumb through. and maybe figure out, oh, hey, it mentions that there's Axelavir. You sure you didn't find anything? And I can go, well, now that Dio is in the room, yes, we did find Axelavir, but he's holding it hostage, so he can get me to vote ally. And he doesn't want me to tell anyone about this, but I'm telling you since he's not in the fucking room, because I feel like I can trust you. At least more than I can trust fucking Dio. We have to figure out what the fuck we can do to get it away from him. I mean, I don't even care if I have to vote ally at this point. I just want you to know so you can bring it up later. Or, at the very least, steal it from him at some point in the future so that we can get it to Quark as soon as possible. Yeah. One sec. I dug the journal out of my pocket and handed it to Phi. She began to flip through the pages, her eyes quickly scanning each one.
This is Latin.
Who writes a journal in Latin? It's a dead language in our time. It's probably a dead language in the future. I mean, there are still Latin words you can throw around, like Deus Ex Machina and, modus operandi. Those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. But they're not used in an actual conversation setting. No one speaks Latin. Or at least no one actively speaks Latin fluently. Latin? You mean you can read it?
Yeah, with time and a dictionary.
Oh, fair. So in other words, no.
Pardon me for not being able to translate a dead language on the fly.
I mean, hey, that's fair.
This looks like some kind of research log.
Who writes a research log in Latin?
It's not going to be some sort of, I took the dog for a walk today. It was nice kind of stuff. I can understand a little of it, mostly conjunctions and things like that. But most of these words I've never even seen before.
Phi started to leaf through the book again. Fumble. Phi started to leaf through the book again as she spoke. Then suddenly she stopped.
Wait. I can read this one. Page 216. This isn't research notes. It looks like a personal entry.
What's it say?
Don't rush me. This is gonna take a minute. Interesting. Alright, I think I got it. It looks like they're talking about Radical 6.
What? Why are they talking about that?
Not sure. Let me read it to you. Keep in mind I'm paraphrasing.
Fair. When the body is infected with Radical 6, the processing speed of the brain is reduced. If we assume the brain currently operates on a 1-to-1 basis with regards to time, Radical 6 reduces this to 1 to the square root of 1/6, or approximately 1 to 0.408. This means that for each second that passes outside, the patient feels that only 0.408 seconds have passed inside. Therefore, when 1 second is passed inside, approximately 2.45 seconds, or square root of 6 seconds, have passed outside. In other words, when 10 seconds pass in the real world, a patient infected with Radical 6 would feel as if only 4 seconds have passed. This is why the virus has been termed Radical 6. So they view things faster then? Or people are significantly slower than them, probably? Radical is another term for what is also known as the root operation, the function inverse of taking of a power. Oh, right, I could have called it Radical 6 and Radical 1/6. My bad. I see that and I immediately think square root. I forgot about radical. In a less mathematical sense, it can also be used to refer to something that is extreme or severe. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. The exact cause of this is unclear, and although there is yet no direct link between suicidal urges and the reduction of mental processing speed, many believe they are not unrelated. Those infected with Radical 6 perceive the world to be moving at a fever pitch, as if it were a videocast being fast-forwarded. For instance, although the patient believes that only 10 seconds have passed, in fact, 24.5 seconds have passed. Given this increased speed of input, maintaining the ability to observe and reason would become a Herculean task. One theory holds that the disparity in time perception causes the brain to be flooded with massive amounts of information, unable to keep up. It begins to fail. Whatever the cause, the infected invariably attempt to take their own lives, which is arguably the most terrifying aspect of this virus. Research suggests that a targeted antiviral could kill, or at least disable Radical 6, but we have been unable to develop one. It seems our best hope now is to harvest antibodies from someone with a natural immunity to the virus. Thus far, however, we've been unable to locate a suitable subject, so I've continued my efforts to discover an alternate means of treatment. Given my current rate of progress, I predict that I will have a workable treatment within a decade or two. It is my fervent hope that humanity will be able to survive that long. The bodies of those dead from suicide are piled up along the roads leading into and out of our town. The entire area reeks with the stench of decay, and the sky is filled with the constant buzzing of flies. At times, their swarms are so thick that when one passes, it feels as if a cloud has gone over the sun. Every day I see more crows and rats everywhere, feeding on the dead. Ironically, the only healthy-looking creatures are the stray cats, who've grown fat on a plentiful rodent diet. The few humans who survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters. I don't know how many were saved, but I fear only a handful. Their survival is the only hope that remains for the human race. Oh Lord, please, let their future be a bright one. Whoa, that's a lot of information. You were able to do all that without a dictionary? Damn. Well played, Phi. Now we know what the virus does to you, though. If you get infected, your brain slows down by the root of 1/6. That's, what, about 40%?
That isn't the important part. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide.
Yeah, you're right. That would explain why Quark was, well, trying to kill himself.
There are two other things in here that worry me. First, the part about how they haven't managed to develop a treatment for it yet.
I mean, which kind of contradicts what we saw in the Atom, but that's neither here nor there.
What do you make of that?
What am I supposed to make of it? Maybe they just hadn't found one when this journal was written. I mean, from what we know, there is a drug called Axelavir that cures it.
Exactly. But in the journal it says it might take 20 years to make something like that.
Hold on a second. I'm getting confused. When was this thing even written?
December 29th. No year.
Well, there's no way it was written this year.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway, moving on.
So it has to take place in the past, unless there's some wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey psychic bullshit going on.
The second concern I have is about the underground shelters it mentions. The newspaper article said something about quarantining people, too. After we read it, we all thought the same thing. What if this was one of those quarantine facilities? But this journal seems to suggest the opposite. The few humans who survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters.
You're trying to say that this place might be one of those underground shelters? I mean, it makes the pantry make a lot of sense. Which would mean we're all supposed to be uninfected. We would have been thrown in here to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Except for Quark.
I mean, there's no way to say for sure at this point, but it seems possible.
But Quark's been infected, right?
And maybe the virus got in somehow.
That would be bad.
Just think about it for a minute. If this is one of those shelters, a lot of things start to make sense. Maybe we've been here for a long time. Like, maybe they put us to sleep somehow. Made us sleep for years, maybe even decades.
Jesus.
While we were sleeping, the pandemic that the newspaper article talked about happened. And whoever had this journal made this entry.
And then once the antiviral treatment was finished, they woke us up?
Right.
Then why the fuck are we in the nonary game at all?
It's all just speculation, but...
No, that doesn't make sense. I mean, it seems like a pretty plausible scenario, but... we were all captured before the pandemic started, right?
Yeah.
And how would they have put us to sleep for that long? How would they have known to do that? But most importantly, why the hell are we playing the nonary game if the point of this place is to save us? Yes, that's my thought exactly. Throwing a bunch of people into a game that might kill them is a pretty weird way to protect them from a pandemic.
Yeah, you're right.
See?
We don't have enough information to make any real conclusions. I think we should see if we can find anything else.
Phi had barely finished speaking before she took off for the magenta door. Hey, weren't you coming to the infirmary with me?
Changed my mind. You can tell me about Quark later.
And with that... what's behind the magenta door again? I don't remember. She was gone. Was that the lounge? I want to say the magenta door was the lounge. Man. I let out a long, tired sigh and started toward the infirmary. I'm curious about something, but it can wait until it gives me access to the flowchart again. How's he doing? Excellent question, but first, let's see where we're at. I'll write about here before the AB game. I mean, obviously, duh. So, it looks like the longer way is to, you know, go, hey, I'll hit ally. Which is weird. Oh, that's green. I just noticed that. Weird, because this lock is black, and this one is green. Anyway, enough about that. How's he doing?
He seems to be stable, as far as I can tell.
Still sleeping.
Well, that's good at least. At least he's comfortable. I see. Mind if I have a look?
Please, go ahead.
Shouldn't I be wearing a surgical mask or something to make sure I don't get the infection? But then again, I don't know if Radical 6 is an airborne virus, a waterbound virus, if it's from touch, or any other thing. I just feel like, you know, having a surgical mask on would probably be the smartest idea before we, like, get too close to Quark, you know? I made my way around the partition to the side of Quark's bed. The journal and the thing Phi and I had talked about would definitely need to be addressed, but for the moment, the AB game was what I needed to concentrate on. Lives were at stake. Mine and Quark's. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. If the journal was telling the truth, then as soon as the anesthetic wore off, Quark would go insane again. What if we weren't able to restrain him a second time? What if he managed to kill himself before we got to him? Or perhaps he'd just get out of the infirmary and go hide somewhere. On the other hand, it wasn't like we could keep him Okay, let's try this. Anesthesia... knocked him out forever. There was only one way to save Quark, and that was with Axelavir. Unfortunately, Dio had stolen it. If he wanted to get it back, Clover and I would have to vote ally. But if I did, there was an excellent chance I would end up dead. The question was then, what to do? Sacrifice myself to save Quark? Or keep quiet about the danger he was in to save myself? It was so faint, I could almost hear it.
Grandpa. Grandpa.
He shifted a little, then fell silent again. It was enough, though. What on earth had I been thinking? How could I have even considered letting a child die in my place? Suddenly, my cheeks felt hot with embarrassment and disgust. That I'd considered letting Quark die, even for a minute, was pathetic. There was only one choice. There had only ever been one choice. No way was I going to leave Quark to die. My hands tightened into fist as I looked down at him. Any uncertainty I'd felt before was gone. I knew what I had to do.
10 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes. All players, please enter your votes. If no vote is recorded before the deadline has passed, any non-voting parties will automatically ally.
Looks like it's almost time. You two should head back.
What about you?
Not going. I'm worried about Quark.
But you're a solo. If you don't vote...
I'll automatically ally. I know. I heard the voice on the intercom just like you.
What are you going to do if Kay and Alice vote betray?
Nothing, I suppose. Just means I lost that round.
And it means you betrayed me for nothing, but that's fine. It's irrelevant right now.
I'd just be voting ally anyway. You know who my opponents are, right? Alice only has one BP left. If I pick betray and they chose ally, I'd kill her. I'm not so desperate to escape that I'm gonna kill someone for it.
And that's fair.
And even if I was, I can't leave Quark behind. You see? Doesn't matter if I go into the AV room or not. My vote's the same either way.
Tenmyoji's mind was made up. Trying to persuade him to leave would have been pointless. Alright. Take care of Quark.
Of course. You worry about yourself.
I wish I could. Let's go.
Okay.
Luna and I headed out of the infirmary, leaving Tenmyoji and Quark behind. When we got to the warehouse, we found everyone else waiting for us. Well, not quite everyone. One other person was missing. Hey, oh, I'm sorry, he shouted. Hey, where's Dio?
Take a look at the doors.
They're all closed. When we came in here before, one on the far right was open.
And that would mean...
That he went in, I guess.
Exactly.
That bastard. He'd probably been worried I might try and take the Axelavir from him by force, so he's hidden himself in the AB room. What a coward. I'd made up my mind to choose Ally, no matter what, but... a part of me had still considered trying to jump Dio if he dropped his guard, and clearly he wasn't going to do that. Now he's made sure I won't get the chance to try.
Where's Tenmyoji?
Oh,
I explained Tenmyoji's choice.
I see. Well, I guess that means I don't have to worry about him picking Betray.
Right. What will you guys be choosing then?
Ally, of course.
Really?
Because my BP is 6, I assume.
Ah, right, that makes sense. Good on you! Because he would ditch all of us, I've seen that timeline.
Yes. As long as Tenmyoji votes Ally, I can't choose Betray. If I do, K's BP will go up to 9.
But what if he forces you?
Ha ha ha. You needn't worry. I would never do something so crass.
Really?
Of course.
Then you don't need to go in there.
Excuse me?
Alice can vote by herself. Then we don't have anything to worry about, right?
Well,
You were gonna do it and just tell us you didn't and run, weren't you, you son of a bitch?
I apologize, but I'm afraid I can't agree to that.
Why not?
I just can't. Shall we go, Alice?
Hey, hold on a minute there.
Kay continued briskly toward the AB room as if he simply hadn't heard Phi. Alice scrambled to follow him, perhaps concerned that he would lock her out. Only seconds later, they disappeared into the third room from the left.
I hope Alice is going to be okay.
Well, there's nothing we can do now. If Kay told the truth, she'll be fine.
I don't think he told the truth, guys.
5 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Time's almost up. Come on, Luna.
Right.
They headed off at a trot toward the second room from the right, and were soon out of sight inside. All right, Clover. Time for us to go.
Oh, okay. Right behind you.
I sighed to myself and headed toward the leftmost AB room. The Ambidex game will now begin. To enter your vote, please touch the Start button on your screen. Once you've entered your vote, the door will automatically lock. It will not open again until the polling period has finished.
What are you gonna do?
Well, Clover, we'll discuss that in the next episode. See you guys then.